I've got a couple tools I'll be working with. I got a Phillips. This is the bigger size Phillips, and I'm going to be using a 3-way. It's got my 4, 5, and 6. 5mm hex or Allen's going to be the most popular we're going to be using. Let's see if we can just stick to these tools today and get the job done. Now, starting with the chain staying somewhere in the middle of the cassette. Right now it's in the middle or somewhat high. Doing this for a purpose so you guys can learn or understand more about how this derailleur functions. There's a spring inside here that's always pulling downward. It wants to pull the chain down all on its own. So no cable, no housing involved. I'm going to go ahead and turn the cranks and you're going to see what happens. Okay, our chain is somewhere in the middle of the cassette. Our cable is still attached to our rear derailleur, so we're going to go ahead and loosen up your cable. And loosen up this pinch bolt just enough to release that cable. You can leave the screw there. So right now we have the cable is free. Just going to let it kind of flop around, do it at once. You're going to go ahead and pedal the cranks, and if you watch the chain's going to drop down because the spring in the derailleur is always pulling down and wants to go down back to its resting position, and that means that the chain is going to be on the last smallest gear, which is your hardest pedaling gear. Just like that. And when you're ready to stop this wheel, go ahead and use your brake. The safest way to adjust your limit screws, we're going to be starting with the low limit screw. You want to make sure your chain's all the way at the bottom first. And then we're going to go ahead and turn this low limit screw in all the way until it bottoms out. Just has to be snug. And so we're right about there. So right now the lower limit screw is tightened clockwise all the way down. It's righty tighty. So this is going to be the safest way to adjust it. The derailleur is now limited to how far it can move up. So the chain's probably going to stop shy, which is what we want. So we don't want it to go over and cut into the spokes. So this is the safest way to adjust our low limit screw. So we're going to see where we're at right now. Yeah, so it's on the third gear, kind of jumping around, wants to go up to the next one. So we know that we got at least 2 more gears to go. So I'm going to make an adjustment. I know a quarter turn of unloosening is not going to get me what I need, so I'm going to do one full revolution of unloosening counterclockwise, lefty-loosey of that low limit screw. Now, if you want to learn this technique of how to move the derailleur just by hand, you're grabbing the back part of the derailleur, you're bracing here with the finger, coming over here with your thumb. There's a pivot point right here. This is the main body where your logo is. You're going to press on the end of it, going downward, but you got to be at the right angle. You can't be down here or up here. You got to be just right. You're going to push with your thumb. So here's another angle, putting a finger here at the back portion, bracing here, putting the thumb on this pivot point. Here's the main body with the logo. And I'm going to push on this end. And I'm twisting my wrist a little bit just to stay out of the way of the camera, but we're pushing down with the thumb, pivoting it just like that as you're pedaling, and then release. Well, here's one more angle. We're at the end of the derailleur, index fingers here, bracing, thumb is right over here at the end of the body. Here's our logo, top of the body, here's a pivot point right there. Pushing down, gonna go ahead and pedal, and push. So what I'm doing is I'm following the natural line of how the derailleur wants to move. Gonna release, you can see it come back. So we want to follow that movement. Otherwise you're not gonna have any luck pushing in a direction that the derailleur doesn't want to move. It's like trying to move your arm in certain ways. It only moves in certain positions. And then we're gonna try this again. So the chain did go up 1 gear, so 1 full revolution of unloosening our low limit screw got us 1 gear change. We're still 1 gear shy. I'm pushing all the way and we're not getting it. So we're going to unloosen that low limit screw a little more, anywhere from a half turn to a full turn. Remember, there always is a chance that the chain can go into the spokes. If that happens, we need to stop pedaling immediately, hit your brake immediately. Don't feel like you need to stick your hand in the spokes, because that's a bad idea to stop the wheel. So I'm going to do a half turn of unloosening, lefty-loosey. This is going to allow more movement for that rear derailleur, and let's see what we got. So still shy, but when I'm pedaling, it's actually pretty darn quiet. So as you can see here, the limit screw can affect what gear your chain is in. So we may have to go back and refer to this at some point if you're working on a bike that you don't know what has been done to it. So we're still shy. We're going to unloosen another half turn, and we're going to retry. So it doesn't quite want to go up, making a bunch of noise like it wants to. So we're very, very close. We're going to unloosen that low limit screw. And anywhere from a quarter turn to a half turn, we're getting smaller. So I'm going to do a quarter turn of unloosening. That's lefty-loosey. And let's see what we got. So it looks like we got on there, but it doesn't quite want to stay on. So that half turn was not quite enough. We're going to do another half turn of unloosening, lefty-loosey counterclockwise, and see what we got here. So our chain did jump on there. Seems to be staying on okay. A little bit of a noise, but that could be because we're in a very big gear in the front. We're putting a lot of stress on it. But main thing is we're on our last gear. It's staying on. It's not going into the spokes, and it's not jumping back down to the smaller gear. So that's actually a really good spot to be in. We can always go back and make fine adjustments as we move through the rest of the derailleur. So we're good to go.